Did you know that simply changing the way you talk to yourself can boost your confidence by up to 30%? Yeah, it's true. Positive self-talk is like tying this bow tie. It might feel awkward at first, I know it was for me, but once you know the steps, it all comes together. Most of us are way too harsh on ourselves. We say things like, "Oh, I'll never get this right," or "My English is terrible." But here's the secret. The words you whisper to yourself matter just as much as the words you say to others. Change those and you change everything. In fact, the Bible often reminds us of the power of words. For example, in Proverbs 18:21, it says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." The same thing applies to your inner voice. It can either build you up or tear you down. So today, I will show you a simple mindset shift that can help you sound and feel more confident when you speak English. And you're going to want to stick around because I'll share practical phrases with you that you can use to replace that negative self-talk with confident language. Plus, the phrase at the end will tie it all together in the Mastery Minute. You're not going to want to miss it, so stick around. Let's dive in with Jin. I'll tell you about Jin. He's actually one of my students in Korea. Not his real name. He's a very smart guy. He knows his grammar very well. But every time he opened his mouth in English, he looked terrified. One day after class, he told me, "Dennis, my problem isn't English. It's me. I keep telling myself I'm going to fail." And listen, I've been there. I've had a lot of people who said similar things. Does it sound familiar to you? Maybe you've felt the same way. Like your English is fine, but your confidence isn't? That's the real issue. The voice in your head. Every sentence starts with doubt. So Jin and I worked on one thing: changing that inner voice. Instead of saying, "I can't," he started saying, "I'm learning." Instead of saying, "I'll make a mistake," he told himself, "I'll give it a try." And you know what? Within a month, he wasn't just speaking more, he was speaking with more confidence. Because when you shift your mindset, your words will follow. Your confidence will follow. So, how can you make the same shift? Let's break it down. Did you know that your brain actually listens to your own voice more than anyone else's? That's why your inner talk becomes your outer reality. If you keep telling yourself you're bad at English, well, your body, your tone, and your words will follow with that same thing. But here's the thing. If you flip the script, even slightly, you'll suddenly find you sound more fluent, more natural, more confident. And to make that shift practical, let's break it down step by step. I got 3 steps for you, and you're going to feel much more confident by the end of this. I promise. So, step number 1. You got to catch the negative self-talk. Think about it. Most of us, including me, we don't notice when we're being our own harshest critic. It's like background noise. It's always running. Maybe you're walking into a meeting and you hear yourself thinking, "Okay, don't mess this up." Or you finish a sentence in English and immediately whisper inside your head, "Ooh, that sounded stupid." I'm a native speaker, and I've done that many times when I was younger, especially, until I learned how to find it and recognize it. So the first step is to simply notice those little voices. Imagine that you're carrying a flashlight and your job is to shine the light on those thoughts and actually hear what you're telling yourself. Once you see them clearly, you can start changing them. So some examples of common negative self-talk. Oh, I'll never get this right. I'm terrible at English. I always make mistakes. Start looking for those negative expressions. Catching them is half the battle. When you notice them, don't beat yourself up with it. Don't be too hard on yourself. Just say, aha, there it is. I found it. That little bit of awareness gives you the power to start shifting the story that you're telling yourself. Once you notice, once you've spotted it, and you see those negative patterns, then you're ready for the next step. Reframing them into something positive and constructive. So, reframe it. Now, once you've caught that little negative voice, that little nagging voice, the next step is to flip it. So, think of it like changing the lens on a camera. With one lens, everything looks dark and blurry or out of focus, but switch that lens and suddenly the same scene looks brighter and clearer and more hopeful. Reframing is choosing a different lens for your self-talk. For example, if you hear yourself saying, "Oh, I'll never get this right," stop. Reframe it. Answer back with, "I'm still learning," and that's progress. Instead of, "My English is terrible," try, "My English improves every time I practice." Or if you catch yourself saying, "Oh, I always make mistakes," reframe that into, "Mistakes mean I'm getting better." Because it's true. I used to know a guy who would intentionally try to make mistakes when he would learn new languages. He spoke a lot of languages. And he spoke a lot of languages because he tried to make mistakes. I mean, not intentionally, but he would count it as a win if he made a mistake, because you learn when you make mistakes. So, do you notice the difference? By reframing, you're not lying to yourself. You're telling yourself a more helpful truth. The small little shift builds resilience, and it gives you permission to keep trying. And the more often you reframe those negative thoughts, the easier it becomes to believe in your own growth. It's true. It works every time, and it's amazing. Okay, so the next one is you want to use confident phrases. This is step 3. It's time to take action now. You've caught the negative thoughts, you've reframed them, and now you need to put them into words. So this step is about giving your mouth, here we go with speaking, something positive to say. So imagine you're in a meeting and your first instinct is to apologize. Uh-oh, I'm so sorry, my English is bad. Well, that apology instantly makes you sound smaller. Don't do that. But if you replace it with, "Thanks for your patience, I'm learning every day." Hey, suddenly you're not shrinking. You're owning the journey. You're saying, "Hey, I'm learning every day." It's a much more positive, confident rephrasing. Think of it like practicing lines for a play. The more often you say these confident swaps, the more natural they'll sound when it matters. So here's a few to keep handy. We already talked about the first one. Instead of, "Sorry, my English is bad." Really, I hear that all the time. Don't do that. Don't apologize for your English. Say, thanks for your patience. Instead of saying, say, I don't know if I can say this, say, let me try to explain. See, now you're saying, I want to try. I want to do it. Instead of, I'm afraid I'll make a mistake, say, I'll give it a try. See, don't be afraid of making those mistakes. Do you know notice the difference here? These phrases don't claim that you're perfect, because perfection is impossible. But they do project courage. You may be scared that it won't sound perfect, but you're instead telling the other person, I'm willing to speak, I'm willing to connect, I'm willing to keep going. That's the kind of energy that invites conversation instead of shutting it down. If this works especially well when you're speaking with native speakers. Native speakers are very understanding if you don't speak perfect English. They will work with you because, hey, we like to talk, especially as Americans. All right, I want to stress this. This is the secret sauce. You want to practice these phrases out loud. Your brain believes what your voice tells it. So you can't just think these phrases. It helps. But if you repeat, I'm learning, I'm improving, then your confidence starts to grow. It's just like training a muscle. You train your mind. Okay? Now, here's some encouragement for you. Be kind to yourself. Okay? You wouldn't talk this way. You wouldn't talk with this harshness to your kids or your family or your coworkers, would you? No. So don't do it to yourself. Positive self-talk builds more than just your English. It builds your whole sense of confidence. And that's what everybody wants to be when they're speaking English, right? More confident. You know, here's a funny story. When I was a teenager and in my early 20s, and even sometimes still to this day, I would look in the mirror, and every morning I would say, hey there, handsome. No joke, I seriously did. Ask my mom. And guess what? I still walk around with that confidence every day. No, give it a shot. So it's not just about your English. It's about every aspect of your life. So here's my question for you. What is one negative phrase that you want to swap this week? Drop it in the chat. I would love to hear your version of how you would turn that negative into a positive. You can drop it in the chat now or drop it in the comments later. I'd love to hear it. Maybe we'll talk about it here in a minute. Okay. This week, your challenge. Pick one negative phrase that you say often to yourself. Recognize it, capture it, then swap it with a confident one. For example, change I'm bad at English into I'm improving every day. Then use it 3 times this week, just quietly to yourself, maybe while you're getting ready in the morning, or practicing in front of a mirror, or maybe while during a study session. You can keep it private because it's called self-talk for a reason. It's about encouraging yourself first. And notice how this starts to shift your confidence. You can read the full breakdown of this on the blog at allaboutenglishmastery.com. The link is in the chat. It's in the description. And if you have ever thought to yourself, oh man, I don't have time to take classes or study for hours, then this is for you. That's why I built a 10-minute daily system for confident English at work. Check out the Mastering English for Busy Professionals course. The link is in the description, also in the chat. Okay? All right, now stick around because we're about to do Mastery Minute. And that's your last chance. Now is your last chance to drop those questions in the chat if you want me to answer right after the Mastery Minute. So here we go. So the word of the day for the Mastery Minute is actually not a word, it's an idiom. because you know I love idioms. Idiom is words carry weight. Words carry weight. Wow, what does that mean? Well, let's go back to that Bible verse I showed you at the earlier part. Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Ancient cultures also warned about the power of speech, because once spoken, words can't be taken back. That's why they're heavy. They carry weight. They carry influence. They shape how people feel and how situations unfold. For example, remember Jin discovered that words carry weight when he stopped telling himself, I'm bad at English, and started saying, I'm learning every day. That gave him the confidence and changed how others saw him too. But he had to change how he saw himself first. So here's how you might use it in a sentence. It's on the slide there. She reminded me that words carry weight. So I started encouraging my team instead of criticizing them. You could change team to your kids. Don't criticize your kids too much. Encourage them. Your words carry weight. So remember, when you choose your words carefully, especially the words you say to yourself, you're carrying weight that can either drag you down or lift you higher. So, all right, that's all the time we have for tonight. We went a little over time as usual. We learned how one simple mindset shift can boost your confidence by changing the way you talk to yourself. And next time we'll dive into a fun and practical topic, how to talk about pictures in English. Whether it's describing a photo or painting or even an image in a presentation, you'll learn some simple ways to keep the words flowing and natural. You don't want to miss it, okay? You can also see the full blog post at allaboutenglishmastery.com. And if this episode helped you, I would ask you to hit the like button. Share this with a friend who's also trying to boost their confidence. Subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss any future episodes. And looks like I don't have any questions. So with that, I'm Dennis Wilborn, and this has been 15 Minute Mastery. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll see you next time.